All right, we're ready to get going here. So thank you to a couple of people, Mary and Ruby, for putting in their chat. You can see that I put in there how grateful I am for the agents who put a gratitude in the chat box. So I guess there's 3 agents I'm grateful for today. All right, I'm just kidding you. But thank you for putting those in there. Mary's grateful for the support in the company and that she has for her family as well. Ruby says, good morning, grateful for life, another beautiful day and everyone in it. And Julie, grateful today for the joy of serving her God, her family, and friends and clients, which is awesome. So, hey, love that song. And in fact, Ruby's sitting here in the room with me, and I keep telling her we need to get her to spend a morning ascent interpreting what that song is saying. Because, in fact, I asked her what the language it is, and she said it's Hindi Sanskrit. So look forward to a morning ascent soon to come where Ruby will interpret what is being sung in that song. So it's kind of cool. I've had her share it with me in the past. So, all right, here's what I thought we would do today. So for today, I was thinking it has been a while since we have done really much in terms of sharing the company foundation. So I know we've got a number of people on here that probably have heard this before, but I actually guess that we've got a number that maybe have not heard us talk about this before as well. So I'm going to put it on the this whiteboard here so that you can see it. But where this comes from is if you go back in time to when George, as a newer agent, was trying to figure out what is it that top producing agents have or do that creates for them this success. Meaning what he was looking for is what are the characteristics that top producing agents seem to have. Now here's the interesting thing is typically top producing agents, nobody sat down and explained this to them necessarily. Now some they did, but for the most part it's more of just intuitively top producing agents just do these kinds of things. So I'm going to give you the 6 things from our foundation. And ultimately what happened is George took a sticky note and started to just ask himself the question, what is it that these top producing agents have or do that he felt like he didn't have dialed in to the level he needed to, which caused them to have success and maybe him not to be as successful. So I just figured we would go through those today and talk briefly about them just to remind you that these are the 6 things you should be constantly focusing on as well. So the first one, number 1, is that top producing agents have a purpose, a vision, or their why. Okay, they have purpose, vision, and why. They understand why they're doing it, and it's not just about the money. So for them, it's something greater than themselves, and it's not just about the money. See, if it was just about saying I want to make a lot of money, every one of us would be there. I mean, if you have to kind of stop and ask yourself that question of if it is only a matter of setting goals, of saying, here's my goal, I want to make $250,000 or 500,000 or $1 million or 5 million. If that's all it took was to say that, and that we would then go and do it, we would all do it. But what he found is that the top producing agents have something bigger than just the goal in terms of the money. There's something bigger than that, of meaning, if you didn't have to worry about money, what would you do with your time? Where would you spend it? And here's what I will tell you that I have learned in all the years that I have done now in teaching this and trying to help agents figure out their purpose, vision, and their why, is that it's always going to be something involving other people outside of yourself. So your purpose, or the top producing agent's purpose, their vision, their why, is something that is outside of their self. It is about helping other people, helping lift people to a higher place is typically what that's going to be. So the question for you is, do you know what your purpose is? Do you have a vision of where your life is heading? Do you know why you were put here? Why is it that you are here? And what is the difference that you're going to make? Now, I just went blank on the guy's name. The guy that was kind of the father of education in the United States, the guy that kind of got that all going, public education, I mean, is he basically said it would be a shame to leave this life not having affected someone else. See, that's where this whole idea of purpose, vision, and why comes from. And one of the things that George noticed was that top producing agents actually have that in place. They have that purpose, vision, or why that they are striving towards. So do you know yours? And if you don't, spend some time journaling to figure out what that looks like for you. Okay, number 2. The second thing is they then do have goals. They have a plan and schedule. Now, I'm actually going to be teaching a class at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time, where we're going to go through and talk about the business plan and work on putting together the business plan. And actually, where we're going to start that whole thing is talking about how do you really set a goal? See, most of the time what happens is most of us just say, okay, well, I haven't made $4 million in a year, so that's my goal for this year. Well, again, going back to this purpose, the vision of why, when you set the goal, there needs to be something behind the goal that is going to drive it. Why do you want to make that kind of money? What is it that your plan is to do with that money along the way? I love sharing the story about an agent that had come through our training program here at Everest. This was about 5 years ago, and in fact, very close to 5 years ago now. And she had said that one of her goals was she wanted to take her family on a vacation to Disney World, because that she had never taken them on a vacation. Her kids were grown, married at this point, but she said growing up, they couldn't afford to do any type of a like real vacation. For them, vacation was going camping up in the mountains or to the lake or something like that, not taking them away to somewhere. Well, what I asked her to do, and in terms of this goals, plan, and schedule, is when you're going to set the goal, there needs to be something behind it. So the reasoning why behind it, which is why number 1 is our why. Once you understand that, then you can go and make these plans. So I asked her, decide what you want to do with your family for this vacation. She said, I want to take them to Disney World. I said, okay, great. What you need to do then is go and find out how much is the airfare going to cost for you to do that? How much is the hotel going to cost? And what are you going to pay for in terms of food and their tickets to Disney World and all of those things? I said, you need to go and actually plan that. Go out, research it so that you know exactly how much that's going to cost. And so as soon as she went and did that, and she put that down on paper, within 18 months, she did it. She took her family on this trip, paid for her children and their spouses, and I don't remember how many grandchildren she had, but them as well, where she did it. And she paid for that as a result of her real estate sales. So for you, that's where I'm saying is top producing agents set a goal, but they're setting the goal based upon actual things that they want to do with the money. Most of the time, at least for me, for many, many years, the way I did it was, well, I want to make, and similar to a lot of agents that come into the business, my first goal was I want to make $100,000 in real estate. So I set that as the goal. And then I was like, well, and if I do that next year, then in year number 2, I want to make 120,000. And then in year 3, I want to make 150,000. And then in year 4, I want to do 175,000. And then in year 5, I want to make 200,000. Well, that's fine, but why? Why does it need to increase? What are you going to do with it? See, again, tying it back to number 1 on the foundation is you have to understand the why. So do you have a goal set in place? And have you set the goals based upon actual things that you want to do with it? Meaning trips you want to go on, or vacations you want to go on, or paying off some debt, buying a new car, buying a new house. Those are the type of things. And actually go plan that out, not just throw an arbitrary number out. That's how you're going to get to the goal, is by doing it at that level. All right. And then the second piece of this is, so they have goals, they have a plan, and they actually put together a schedule. Stop and think about the way businesses run. Every business out there, and I always use Chick-fil-A because when I look out the window over here, that's the one I see. Chick-fil-A has a schedule. They know what time they open. They know what time they close. They know they're not open on Sunday. They know all of that stuff. Do you know that for your business? Do you have your business set up at that same level of, do you have a schedule that you're going to follow? What would happen if Chick-fil-A ran their business hours, their schedule, the way most of us in real estate run our schedule? Meaning, I don't feel like working today. I'm just going to stay home. I'm going to go in late. I don't know if I'll do that. Or like, they wouldn't stay in business very long. The same thing applies to you. Do you have goals, plan, and a schedule? All right, number 3 then is going to be mindset. What he found is top producing agents have a powerful mindset, that they don't let the media control what's going on in their mind. They don't let outside forces control what's happening in here. Well, so how do you do that? How do we go about that? Well, it's what you're watching. It's what you're listening to. It's the people you're associating with. It's what are you reading? Which, by the way, let me pause in my what I'm talking about for 1 minute to give you guys some breaking news that we are going to start back into doing a book club. We used to do every Wednesday was book club. And within the next couple, 2 to 3 weeks, we are going to have that started back up again on Wednesdays, which is not going to be done on Zoom, by the way, breaking news. It's going to be done at the office level. So we're going to be talking with the managers today about getting Morning Ascents back going again in the offices. So we will still do some during the week that are on Zoom like this, but we're transitioning back to, okay, let's get people in the offices and doing our Morning Ascents. Well, as part of that, Wednesdays are going to be book club. The reason we have done that, the reason Everest has that set up and we go through that is it helps in our mindset. So top producing agents have a strong mindset. So what are you doing to work on your mindset? And then number 4. Number 4 is discipline / oops, I spelled that wrong. Oh, well, you know what it means. And accountability, okay? All right, discipline and accountability, even though I put disciple. Discipline. So discipline and accountability. What top producing agents have is they have internal discipline. Or if they don't, they go get external accountability. The difference between discipline and accountability is discipline is internal, is I say I'm going to get up and exercise, I do it. Accountability is I say I'm going to get up and exercise, but if I don't have somebody meeting me there, I'm probably not going to do it. So for me, what you need to look at is for yourself, how disciplined are you? And can you get yourself to do what you need to do? Or do you need to get some outside accountability of someone to help you stay on top of, guess what, your schedule? See, that's going to be the thing. If you will stay on your schedule 80% of the time, if you would put a schedule in place and follow it 80% of the time, you will be successful in this business. Okay. All right. Number 5 is skill sets. Now, I'm not going to today go through and talk about them, but we have 12 skills that we feel like from Everest that you need to be working on and continually getting better at. So first question would be, do you know what the 12 skills are? And if not, then go to your script book and take a look at it. Like I said, I'm not going to spend a ton of time going through it today, but top producing agents have a strong skill set. See, I always love to come back to sports as the analogy with this is professionals practice. They work on their skills. They're constantly working on it. And here's the other thing I would say on this in terms of skill sets. Professionals will video themselves performing whatever sport it is that they're doing, and then they go back and analyze it. Like, here's the interesting thing. You wouldn't be a great Morning Ascent if I didn't share something baseball related, right? So here we go. Here's the baseball relation. I was making a comment. So I have 3 sons, and I think I've mentioned this before. My oldest is 25. My youngest is 12 right now, and actually will be 13 on Saturday, now that I think about it. But it's been interesting because I commented to somebody the other day that I am so fascinated at how much better hitters are the 12-year-olds today versus when my son, who's 25, so 13 years ago, just over that span, I am amazed at how much better hitters the kids are. Meaning on our baseball team that I coach for my son, or that I help coach for my 12-year-old, we have got 4 kids who hit the ball farther than any 12-year-old I have ever seen over the last number of years. Meaning if I go back to when my oldest was that age. Well, I think the reason that is because So many coaches today, even at Little League, are videoing their swing of what the kid's swing looks like. You take one from what the top hitters are doing in the major leagues, and you're trying to then copy that. See, Ted Williams, who was the last person to have over a 400 batting average, which for you guys that are not baseball people, what that means is that out of every 10 times he got up to bat, he would get on base over 4 times. So 4 point whatever times. Well, he had an over 400 batting average, and he is the last person in Major League Baseball to have done that. Well, when he was asked why he was such a good hitter, what he said is, I've looked at what the top hitters were doing, and I tried to copy it. So for you, in terms of your skill sets, that's what we need to do. See what top producing people are doing, and then try to implement it into yourself. But the way you do that is through practice. And if you're not videoing yourself or recording yourself and then letting somebody else look at it and analyze it, or you look at it and analyze it, you're missing out on being able to get better at the skill sets. So top producing agents work on their skill sets. They're constantly trying to get better. Brian Burnett, who was our top agent here in Utah, who's in the St. George office, he does role play every single day. It's in his schedule, and he does it. And he will do it with multiples of different people too. He doesn't just stick with the same person. That way he's getting a different perspective on what he's doing. But I know he practices every single day to get better. Are you? All right, number 6. And our last one for what we're going to talk about is systems, tools, and strategies. Systems, tools, and strategies. Top producing agents, they have systems in place that they use. They've got the tools that they need for this business, and they have strategies that they use to go about it. They have strategies that they use to go and get the listings. They have strategies they use in terms of prospecting to setting appointments. All top producing agents have systems that they're using, tools, and strategies. Now, so here's what I want you to do today. For today's morning ascent, what I would ask of you is take a look at those 6 things. Which of those do you feel like you need to improve on? What would life be like? How would it change your business if you could improve on one of those? So choose one that you would say, here's what I'm going to work on. Would love to have you throw it in the chat box even and tell us what you're going to work on. Commit to it. Put it out there for the rest of us to see what you're going to work on. But keep in mind, if you want to be a top producing agent, and I know some of you that are on here are in that boat already, but top producers have those things that they have in place and are constantly working on getting better at it. So, all right, thanks for being with me today. Let me stop my screen share here if I can. Oops. Thanks for being with me. We will wrap it up now with doing our closing affirmations. So thanks for being on with me. Go make it an awesome day. Enjoy that sunshine for you guys in Utah. It's going to be 100 degrees today. So